You train harder than most of the players that you know, but when the lights come on, you freeze. You catch the ball wide open and your mind starts racing. Is this the right shot? What if I miss this shot? Should I drive? Should I pass? When should I pass? What if I mess up? And then by the time you decide on what to do, the moment's gone and you lose your opportunity. If that sounds like you, it's not necessarily because you're playing scared, it's because you're playing stuck. You're overthinking while everybody else is just out there playing. And that hesitation is costing you. It's probably costing you minutes or maybe a bigger role or more opportunities. It's probably costing you confidence on the court, and it's definitely costing you trust when it comes to your coaches and your teammates. This is a terrible place to be. I've been there as a player, and I talk to players every single day who struggle with these same sorts of things, but it's actually a simple thing to solve. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 simple ways to break out of that and finally start to play with the confidence, the consistency, and the freedom that you've been training so hard to have. So the first thing you need to do, and this is the biggest reason why players struggle with this, they hesitate and second guess themselves, is because they go out into games without a very clear purpose of what they're trying to do. Most of the time, that hesitation that you feel actually starts before you even step on the court. And if you don't know what you're looking for, you're always going to second guess your next move. Players who hesitate usually lack a clear sense of where they're supposed to be, when they should do what their team needs from them, and what the defense is giving them. And if you don't have a clear answer to all those questions, then this is probably why you struggle with this. The reason for this is very simple, is that there's a gap in your training. And there's a good chance that if you have that gap, this probably describes you. You spend a ton of time in the gym working on your skills, your shooting, your ball handling, your finishing. Maybe you're in the weight room getting stronger, getting more athletic. So seemingly you're doing all the right things, and you are when it comes to those surface level skills. But what you're doing is you are adding tools to your toolbox. The problem becomes if you don't understand how to actually apply those tools and when to do it, then it doesn't matter how much you work on those things, you're going to struggle to apply them. Being able to go on the court and having a purpose and a focus and knowing, okay, this is when I'm going to do that, this is when I'm going to do this, that solves that problem for you and allows you to play without second guessing yourself. You play free and you perform at your best. Really what it boils down to is developing your level of basketball IQ, because basketball IQ is the biggest fix when it comes to hesitation on the court. Because a huge characteristic of players who struggle with hesitating and second guessing themselves and not playing free, playing restrained on the court, is that they're constantly reacting and they are very rarely ever anticipating. One of the marks of a player with a really high basketball IQ is their ability to anticipate what's going to happen. So they know, they see a screen coming and they anticipate what the defense will likely do, and this allows them to stay a step ahead. So if you've ever watched a player who seems like they're constantly a step ahead and they know what's going on before it even happens, it's probably because they have this ability to anticipate. You develop that by developing your basketball IQ. The best part about this is that it's actually the simplest thing to fix. Just like you train the physical parts of your game, your skills, shooting, ball handling, finishing, your strength, your speed, all this sort of stuff, you need to train your basketball IQ just like that, meaning every single day you should be putting in those mental reps in order to develop your ability to get out of being a reactionary player and start to be able to anticipate things, anticipating when a cut is going to be open, anticipating when an open shot is going to happen, anticipating when the right time to make a pass is. So a really simple plan that you can follow in order to develop this is you can turn on your TV. Right now we are in the NBA playoffs and the conference finals, so you can watch one of those games. That's great. But it doesn't even have to be that. You can go on YouTube and you can find so many full basketball games. You can find a ton of college games, NBA games, EuroLeague games, high school games. It doesn't really matter. But what you should do is pinpoint one player and watch them. Pick a player who plays a similar position to you, or maybe they're really good at a skill that you're trying to develop as well. So for example, if you're a point guard, you might watch Jalen Brunson, you might watch Trae Young, you might watch someone like Peyton Pritchard. If you're a wing player, maybe you watch Derek White or you watch Mikal Bridges. Those are just examples, but if you want to get even more specific, you can go and ask ChatGPT and say, hey, this is the type of player that I am. What players should I watch more of in order to develop my ability and be more successful at my position or at this skill? And then go and find a full game of that player and watch just them the whole time. So don't watch the ball, don't watch all 5 players, focus completely on that player. So what they do when they have the ball, what do they do when they don't have the ball? When are they looking to be aggressive? When are they moving the basketball? Where are the majority of their points coming from? Because more than likely what you'll notice is that a lot of the points that they score aren't the highlights that you see. When you think of somebody like Jalen Brunson, you think of all the incredibly tough shots he hit. I just think about this playoffs that we're in right now and the amount of just like big time pull-up, contested mid-range shots that he's hit. Like, it's crazy. But also, when you watch the full games, you see he gets to the rim, he has some different floaters, he's able to hit open jump shots, and the majority of his points are going to come from these more simple things. So when you see that, you're going to be able to take into account and pick up habits. Okay, this is how he's scoring consistently. He's able to score 8, 10 points in a game by doing this simple thing. Now, when you get back into your games and you're in those same situations, you're going to recognize, okay, when is a good opportunity for me to look to do something? And if I see that he's creating really easy buckets consistently, I can probably recreate those things when I play as well. So pick a game, pick a player, watch them, take notes on it, and write down 1 or 2 actionable things that you can do. So going with like the Mikal Bridges example, if you're like a wing player, you might see that Mikal Bridges scores a lot of points coming off of driving kicks because he relocates at the right time. When his teammate drives the baseline, he relocates down to the opposite corner or he lifts up, whatever. You see that he gets his open threes from that. So now you know, okay, that's how I get more open threes in my games. Or maybe you see that he's able to get downhill because he attacks closeouts whenever his defender goes from help defense to on the ball. And now you can say to yourself, okay, when I'm in those situations, I now have a purpose. I can now hunt that thing. And if you commit to doing this every day, I'm not saying you have to watch a full game every day, but even if you just watch pieces of a game every single day, you're going to become so much smarter when it comes to your basketball IQ. You're going to start to develop the ability to anticipate because you're going to have seen so much that you recognize patterns, and it's going to make you feel so much more confident with your decision making on the court, which is going to eliminate your hesitation, and it's going to really help you to play with more freedom, more consistency, and more confidence. On top of that, if this is something that you struggle with and you want even more guidance when it comes to developing this, I created a free Basketball IQ Masterclass link down below in the description. It breaks a ton of this stuff down. It's not just theory, it's actionable things that you can take and apply in the next game that you play, the next practice that you play in, and you're going to be able to go out and play with more purpose just by the stuff that we go through inside of that masterclass. Like I said, that's a top link down below in the description, so make sure you check that out after this video. The second thing you need to do if you want to eliminate your hesitation on the court is get familiar and build the habit of playing in 0.5 decisions. When we break down what happens when you catch the ball in offense, it's very simple. You can shoot the ball, you can drive the ball, you can pass the ball. It's pretty much the 3 things that you're going to be able to do. The best players make that decision consistently within half a second of the ball being in their hands. Like I just mentioned earlier, a lot of those players have made the decision before that because they're good at anticipating and they know, all right, well, my defender closed out like that, so I'm going to have a drive. Or my defender was late on a rotation, so I know when I catch it, I'm going to be open on the shot. Or I see, hey, it's a 2-on-1 and a defender's rotating over to me, so my teammate's wide open if I make a quick pass over to them. This doesn't mean that you want to rush yourself, but it means that you should be able to make quick decisions, and it's that combination of anticipation and being able to read your defender that allows you to do this. When you don't do this, when you hold the ball and you hesitate and it takes a long time for you to make a choice, you kill the advantage that you have, which is momentum. Your defender's got to close out to you, which is their most vulnerable state on defense, them having to come towards you. And also, the entire defense is rotating as well. So that's the best time for you to do something with the basketball. So if you have a habit of catching and holding the basketball a lot of the times, or every time that you touch the ball, this is the best way for you to be able to create more for yourself and more for your team is just by building this habit of playing in 0.5 decisions. Now, you get better at this by first identifying that problem and looking for those opportunities. So anytime the ball gets swung to me, trying to make a quick decision, shoot, drive, pass. And as you do this, you're going to make mistakes, which actually we're going to talk about in the third point. But you're going to learn so much of what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what situations are the best to do what. And when you go in there with a purpose saying, okay, I'm going to play in 0.5 decisions, you're going to be able to work through all of that difficulty. And you're going to come out the other side of it as a player who's decisive, who is hard to guard, and who plays great team basketball, meaning you're going to be super valuable on any team that you play on. So my challenge to you is that when you go and you watch those games like we talked about earlier, look for those situations. Okay, Derek White caught the ball and attacked a closeout. That was a 0.5 decision. Why did he do that? Rewind it, ask yourself, what did he see? When a player that you're watching chooses to make a quick swing pass from the top of the key to the wing, why did they do that? Well, they did it to shift the defense. They didn't have an open shot or an open drive right away, so they just quick 0.5 decision, moved the basketball. That shifted the defense, and that freed up something else for their teammate. Those sorts of things, the game within the game, the dominoes, seeing how one action impacts the next, is how you develop a high level of basketball IQ, which goes into developing a high level of confidence and eliminating hesitation. And the third thing you need to do if you want to eliminate hesitation from your game is live by the 80-20 rule. This should be like the most freeing thing that you'll ever hear. Perfection and holding yourself to a perfect standard is the number one reason why players struggle with hesitation on the court. Because you spend all this time and focus on not making mistakes, always being right, never looking bad. And the game of basketball doesn't work like that. The best players in the world have horrible turnovers. They take bad shots. They drop the ball. It slips through their hands. They miss an assignment on defense. They miss a layup. They airball a shot. Every player in the world makes mistakes. So when you hold yourself to that perfect standard, you actually do way more harm than good. Get the idea of perfection out of your mindset because that's going to slow you down. It's going to make it really hard for you to play in those 0.5 decisions like we talked about because you're going to be so focused and you're going to be overthinking on, is this right? Is this right? Is that wrong? What if I do that? What if that goes wrong? And instead of just doing and giving yourself the best opportunity to succeed, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot because you're going to be playing slower, trying not to mess up. The 80-20 rule is very simple. Even the best players in the world make mistakes, are wrong, and just get unlucky 20% of the time. Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time, and he's shooting at less than 50% from three. If you go and you look at the players in the NBA who average the most turnovers per game, it's some of the best players in the league. All of that stuff, the negatives, are part of the game. If everybody was perfect, then the game wouldn't exist because nobody would be able to do anything. It's the greatest paradox that there is. So instead of holding yourself to that perfection standard, you want to instead focus on maximizing that 80%. You can be great 80% of the time. You can make the right decision. You can play the right way. But in order to do this, you need to, first of all, trust your instincts. And again, you're going to develop that by developing your basketball IQ, playing more, being okay with making mistakes and learning from them. You need to be 100% confident in the decision that you make. So the beauty of the game of basketball is that you don't always have to be right to still be successful. Sometimes I'll watch it. I'll be watching film back of the team that I coach, and I'll say, wow, the right decision right there, the best decision probably would have been to move the ball. But you know what? They made a really confident drive to the basket, and they still managed to score 2 points, or they drew in a defender and kicked it out, and we got a 3 off of it. Even though they might have missed an opportunity early on, or they might have made the wrong choice at first, because they made a decision with confidence and they went and did it 100%, a lot of times good things will happen anyway. And then the final part of it is that you have to accept when bad things happen. Accept the fact that you're going to miss shots. You're going to turn the ball over. You're going to forget a play. You're going to make the wrong read. You're going to miss a layup. I'm not saying that you should want to do these things, but accept in your mind, hey, I'm not going to be perfect 100% of the time. And when you can do that, when you're in a game and you miss a shot or you turn the ball over, you make the wrong decision, you're able to just quickly move on. And that way you're not stuck focusing on the past, which is going to impact your ability to do your best in the present moment, which is going to impact ultimately your ability to play on the court. The player who hesitates trying to be perfect is always going to lose to the player who plays free and adjusts and learns from their mistakes. You build true confidence through volume and grace. That's the two parts of it. Volume meaning doing the thing over and over again. So being willing to go out and, like I said, make that confident decision. Go try and make something happen. Do your best in those situations. But then the other side of it is giving yourself grace to fail and not be perfect and say to yourself, hey, I'm going to get it wrong. But when I do, I'm going to take note of it, and I'm going to be better the next time because of it. Hesitation and second-guessing yourself on the court doesn't come from a lack of talent. It comes from a lack of purpose, decisiveness, and forgiveness and grace. But once you build those things, your game is going to completely transform, and you're going to feel like a completely new player on the court. Hopefully this gave you some steps to take. Like I mentioned, if you want another resource that's going to help you to develop these things, check out the Basketball IQ Masterclass link down in the description below, completely free. I appreciate you for watching. Talk soon. Peace.